Howdy, Axe. Another rough loss in the books. We're now 3-6 and really on life support here for a ball berth. It's not looking good. Let me ask you something. Do you remember the day before and after you got your Aggie ring? Do you? Think back to that time. Think what that was like, the time leading up to getting that ring. You had to put in 96 hours, probably 2.5 to 3 years worth of hard work. Let me tell you my journey on that one. So I graduated my high school class of 500, and I was somewhere around 210. I really didn't have a chance to get into A&M at that time. It was probably good that I didn't even try. Even if I would have gotten in, it probably wouldn't have worked out well. I went to Blinn. My grandfather took me to Bryan, got me signed up the summer before. Moved in with a couple of great guys that first semester. They went to A&M. I went to Blinn. Worked my ass off for a year and a half. Um, Took classes like engineering calculus, things like that. Managed a 3.5. I applied to A&M. I did not get in on my first attempt. Actually, it was because of a technicality. So I reapplied and they reevaluated it and I got in. Um, Amazing second effort there. One of the happiest pieces of news I'd ever gotten. Worked so hard. I've never done so well in school in my life. Had to do with all the hard work that I put in. Fast forward a couple years, right? I've been through now 1.5 years at Blinn. Now I did another, 1.5 years, probably at least. Trying to think about the exact time frame. But ended up taking classes like Calculus 2. I was a math major. I took differential equations, linear algebra 2, physics 1, physics 2. A lot of these classes, even biology 101 was a very difficult class until I figured I needed to go to the office hours. Point being is it was a real rough ride getting up to that 96 hours. And I remember getting to apply for the ring and thinking, okay, well, this is starting to happen here. And I got that ring, and what it did was is it made that ring all that more special because when you look at this ring right here, it's not just, you know, a piece of gold, uh, antiqued with, a bunch of etchings in it. There's so much more to this ring than meets the eye. For me, see, this is all that stuff where I came from. This is all the high school stuff that I had fluffed off, all the hard work I had to put back in to actually get to A&M, and then all the hard work that I had to put in just to get to that 96 hours. I had to go through all that darkness to get to this light. And this piece of light is something I've actually had this ring stolen and I replaced it myself. My grandfather bought my first ring. I bought this one because I had to have it because of what it represented. Even the dings in this ring, and I don't know if you can see it, but I've lost my diamond as well. That sucker cracked and fell out. I don't care. I like it the way it is. That tells a story. There's a piece to that, right? So the journey has to do with a lot of what the triumph gets to. So I can't just discard this for what it is. You know, I know what we want right now. I know we wanted this season to go the way we wanted this season to go. I know we wanted it to be straight and narrow, cookie cutter. We were ready. We think we're owed something to a degree. I know we don't really have that mentality, but just like the ring, when you go through it, you appreciate this ring for what it is and how you got it. When things finally start to hit and fall into place, I want to be that fan base that's not entitled to that success. I want to be the one that relishes it because I know what it took to get there. I don't want to rest on, well, my college was winning national championships whenever I was 5, and I don't remember those, but that's just kind of been a bit of the culture or doing, all these things really well, and we've got some here and there, and just to expect it. I mean, that's great. Don't get me wrong, but there's a relinquishment of appreciation that comes along with those kinds of situations, and I don't want to be that. Aggies will be better for going through this tribulation. Maybe you or someone you know needs to hear this message. Um, you know, like this, subscribe to it, share it. I'm not asking for the channel. I'm asking because, and I'm pointing it out because that helps to spread it out. I don't keep this stuff hidden behind a paywall. Nothing wrong with that. I piece together this each week through 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, whenever I can find the time, because it's a busy work week, wife, kids, work, all that. And so to be able to get this out to other people is kind of important because they may not have that hub where they can go. You know, I do all that, and I hope, that after each week, looking back from all this that I've done, from all this that everyone else will have done, which being patient, being supportive and everything else, I want us all to be able to bask in the glory of a championship. For me, until then, it's a worthy cause for us to just have a hub, to come together here and realize that we're just all in this together. And it's a dark time right now. It sucks. I know. I'm even a little superstitious, so I got my hat on that I bought my first semester at A&M. Back in 2002. So this sucker is 20 years old in about 3 months in January, because that's whenever I would have gotten in. So holding this around, very nostalgic for me. Let's talk about this team. What could this team be? Didn't you see it in the first half? What are we up? 24-20, I think, at the half. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody put it in there. First half was great, wasn't it? Haynes King looks solid. He's completing passes. I think, did he finish up maybe 180 something yards in the first half? Like, where did this come from? What happened? We're completing passes. We're running the ball. Chain's got well over 100 at this point, right? Holy cow. We've got ourselves a new team. Something's going on. We thought, Weigman was going to be a kick to the teeth not having him. And look, it probably would have still helped. Not saying it wouldn't. But we kind of dispelled a bunch of the problems, I think, in the thought processes when we watched the first half. Because we thought we were watching a different team. And that's because we were. We were watching a different team. I had people texting me saying, "What's happening here? This is a good team. Where's this been? Where's the O-line play been?" Don't know. Good question. But it really cleared up a lot of the problems, right? Because then you saw it flip second half. Offensive line play just not there. Haynes King back under pressure. We can't run the ball. In fact, I think we only handed the ball off 3, maybe 4 times in the second half. And there's some reasons for that. They get the momentum. They go up. I think put 14 unanswered up on us, which actually all their points in the second half were all unanswered. Let's be real here. And then we feel like we got to throw the ball the rest of the way. And I get it. I'm not terribly mad about it, but it is kind of problematic. We would have liked to have seen more there. But I tell you what, Jimbo is still right. He's not been wrong. I'm going to keep beating this dead horse. They're right there. They are. They saw it. They showed it to you in the first half. They're right there. A lot of problem is consistency. That's probably the main problem. They can execute, but they can't execute consistently. That's something I think Jimbo does leave out when he talks about it in his pressers, because this is deeper than just execution. And so then you've got to ask yourself, well, why aren't they consistent? We saw what the offensive line could do. We saw how they could play. We saw how Haynes King could play, which looked monumentally better than he did in whatever the first 3 games that he played. He looked competent. So we're right there. And the quarterback wasn't the issue. We moved the ball. We're winning 24-20. Scheme wasn't the issue. It has to be apparent. I don't really see it any other way. It may be an issue, but it's not the problem. Okay, offensive coordinator is not going to fix the problem, and there may not be actually a problem to fix, but offensive coordinator will probably help. I'm actually really on board with this offensive coordinator idea. I don't like that, for instance, when your head coach has to gripe at the officials, that they have to do that and they're trying to get the play in. We've had a few too many delayed games and needs to take timeouts because we don't have things in the way they need to get in. So legitimate point there. We need to get that corrected. A lot of criticism out there about it. Um, it's everywhere. Everywhere. The hate is real. It is absolute. There is there's national pundits pointing it out. I mean, they're trying to prop up firing Jimbo. They're trying to drive a wedge between you and me with this kind of stuff, which means that they're trying to drive a wedge in the Aggie faithful. They want us to go out and think, well, we've got to go do this, so we've got to go fire him. We've got to get rid of something that's going good. Let's say a net good. Plenty of criticism to take place, but a net good. That's what I believe. Okay, that's what I believe right now, and they're trying to drive a wedge in it because they're scared. We've done something that has angered them. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I don't want to hear anything more about whether or not we bought the class. Anybody that recruited a class used NIL, bought their players, if that's how you want to look at it. We were no different than that. So I don't want to hear that that's why we are getting the hate, because then therefore you should hate everyone for doing that. Lane Kiffin talking about, well, they got outbid for Durkin. Sounds like you were bidding there, partner. So you were doing the same thing. Don't act like a clown. You won't get called a clown. But I digress. Again, that hate's real. Might as well go ahead and embrace it. I don't understand it. We're getting attacked left and right. We're getting attacked like we've won like the last 5 national championships. I mean, it's Alabama level stuff, to be quite honest. And I asked on Twitter today, I said, are people happier that we're having a downfall or that Alabama is having a down season? What is it here? Why get at us about it? It does not make any sense. What threat do we pose? Right? It doesn't make any sense. We haven't won any national championships. I wish we had, but we haven't. So what's all the fuss about? I don't know. I guess the only thing I can put together is that we've upset the status quo. Something has happened. They see, I think we are a sleeping giant. I have believed that. I don't think we've gotten out of bed yet, but I think we're trying to get tucked back in. I think that's what they're trying to do, because it doesn't make any sense, to be honest, that much. What perceived threat are we? That has to be what it is. So keep that in mind, but it's a storm we're going to have to weather. It is. Think about this, though, this contract and where they're trying to take us with Jimbo right now, trying to get us to fire him, trying to drive those wedges. Think the 10-year contract was good or bad? We have been fairly quick triggered to get rid of the next coach. I mean, someone was here 6 years. I think Sherman was 4, Franchione was 5. Not terribly long, but not terribly short. I think the 10-year contract is good and bad. I've been a little critical of it. So maybe it's what we need. Maybe it's what we need to say, it's just off the table right now. We're in this for 2 more years before it gets down, bought down. Then we'll reevaluate, we'll reassess. Maybe after then we'll decide whether or not we really want to get into a firing situation. But that contract might hold us to that because it is so lengthy, which will help us to weather the storm and be patient and not have to worry about, fighting the inroads. The desire we all have is to grab onto one thing. We want to grab that one thing and say, this is the problem. Because that's what's easy. Because you think to yourself, well, if we can just change that part, then we will be whole again. It just is not going to work like that. There is no one thing. This has been somewhat of a perfect storm. All the injuries, all the sickness, up and down, all the inexperience. Aggies are the best fan base to take this kind of hate seriously. Focus on what you want. My advice is to unite. Stick together. Remember who we are. Remember what we're here for. Remember what we're trying to achieve. What's our goal? We're not in this for the short term. I'm in this for the long haul. I think most Aggies are. We just don't expect things to happen overnight. We're more resilient than that, I guess is my point. There's more to us than that. We can't be boiled down to something that simple to say, we've been going on this for 10 years, y'all. This is not something that we're just going to let go in 1 year, are we? Can't have that. I'm not here for that. I'm here to encourage all you to step into it and keep it up. Remember what I said last week. It's the darkest just before dawn, right? It's the darkest just before dawn. What I didn't say was how dark it is, though. I don't know how dark it is right now. I don't know if it's going to get darker. Right now, it's pretty damn dark. Will it be darker next week? Who can say? When will the light peak? I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm not sure. But if you're dedicated, when that light hits, it'll be the brightest damn light you've ever seen. I can't say when it will happen. All I can say is that for those who made it through the trials, it will be worth it. Gig 'em.